least we got the Owen stuff to talk about that's not depressing. Welcome to the Wrestling Council, everybody. Welcome to the Wrestling Council. I am your host, Comic Book Bob, and this week I am joined by the Wrestling Council OG Mr. Boogie Bently,
founding father. Do I have to say it's me, and like do all these things that Hollywood does, or it's just me.
Yeah, and we are we're live, man. It's been a minute and a half.
I know, long time no see. We've chatted back and forth, but I guess this is the first time we've been streaming in forever.
God, it's been too long, man. I miss it. I miss it so much. But we are live, and hey, Courtney's like, hey guys, what's up? What's up, Courtney? And you know what they like to say every time when we start these streams, and we see everybody piling in here.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Oh my God, man! This week was interesting. A lot of fallout, man. A lot of fallout from a lot of things. I thought the most interesting thing was going to be this friggin' insane AEW two night card that we've got coming up, man, which is basically a free pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was looking at the card, which they built it up perfecely.
Oh God!
When you look at the card, it's basically a pay-per-view.
Yeah, and that's actually been causing. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I know you haven't been watching it, but have you been paying attention to like the matches that they've been hot-shotting on Raw and SmackDown? That it's this thing where they're like, oh, we don't consider them competition or anything. That's BS. We know that's absolutely 100% not true anymore.
Oh yeah, I think I can't remember who I was talking to. I don't know. It all runs together. It might have been a buddy at work, and I said the second Cult of. I think I said it when I came on with you in Hollywood there for a few minutes the other night. The second Cult of Personality hit, they were competition. AEW became competition for WWE, and then fast forward from there, Bryan Danielson, Ruby Soho, AEW is legit. And if Vince doesn't figure something out, he's in trouble. I know that sounds crazy. He's in trouble.
Well, we know that, like I said, they can say publicly whatever they want. Literally the day after Cole and Danielson debuted, Vince called an emergency meeting.
Oh.
He called an emergency meeting. They completely changed the card for that Monday Night's Raw. And they've been doing that ever since. They've been hot-shotting the card for every show going forward.
Which is funny because it doesn't matter. It doesn't get any better. I was like, I'm returning to the Wrestling Council for the first time in forever. Sit down to eat supper tonight. I was like, I'm going to watch Raw. I'm going to turn on Raw and just see what's what. It's the exact same crap. The first match starts 20 minutes into the show. And, it is cool that Big E won the title. That's great. I like that. I dig that. But then, of course, it's Roman Reigns. And like I said, first match 20 minutes into the show. It's the same old bullcrap. I love AEW. It's something different every week, whether two guys are in the ring and they come back from the TV break and boom, Justin Roberts does the introduction. Sometimes the bell just rings. Sometimes there's a promo. Every week is different. Every week is unique.
Yeah. And like I said, this week, man, my God. We got Punk's the Grand Slam for Dynamite. You got Punk doing a live interview before 2 days before his first TV match in 7 years. MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr., which they have built up perfectly. Perfectly.
Are we going to do good, bad, and the ugly? I was prepared.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to say hi to everybody in the chat real quick. Maldacito, Courtney, Johnny Cage, the Indie Kid, Thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate that. But yeah, we are going to start. And then, you know what? And since this is your first time back, you get to start with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let me throw the banner up there. Where's my stuff at? Damn it. You can tell I'm prepared. There you go.
Hey, look at that.
There you go. Good, the bad, and the ugly.
See, you set me off because I thought you were going to try to steal my glory. The good is MJF and Brian Pillman Jr., the buildup. And, you know, the thing about Brian Pillman Jr. is he's still a little green. He's still a little rough around the edges when it comes to promo work. But the fact that the Brian Pillman episode was on Dark Side of the Ring, which we're going to talk about the plane ride from hell coming up here in a little bit. But, you know, the fact that it was on Dark Side of the Ring. So everybody knows the story. Not everybody. Most people know the Brian Pillman story. So that's why MJF's promo was even that much better. That much better. So short little build up, but a lot of heat there. That's my good. MJF, Brian Pillman. The bad, I'm going with Raw. All 20 minutes that I watched of it. It just confirmation why I don't watch WWE anymore. I canceled the Peacock Network. I'm done with it. I don't need it. It's a waste of time. And the ugly, Jade Cargill. She looks like a star. She wrestles like I don't know what. She's terrible. She's terrible in the ring. She needs more work. She has the potential to be a huge star.
Yeah, she's basically, remember what we used to say about Moose like 2 years ago? Like the total package. Absolutely 100% the total package. Mid step in the ring, you are suspect as hell.
Yep.
Yeah. And I do think that she is going to be in the future. She is going to be a star.
I think they just see that potential and they're throwing her on TV too soon. She needs to be on Dark, or she needs to be in a training schools where she needs to be.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, you see somebody like that and your eyes get big and it's like, you see dollar signs, you want them on TV, but
I think she's in the same place that Dominic was when he first came out. He was so green, dude, man. And the thing was he was trying to wrestle like his dad, and he just didn't have it. Like he's like, bro, you can't do that. You're 6 foot. I think was it 6'3"?
I saw some clickbait article today that said they're about to repackage him, but I didn't read it. Have you seen that?
They're moving towards him breaking up with his dad. It's going to be him versus his dad is what they're doing. But Johnny Kate said, "Sup, y'all? What's up, brother?" And Fantasia snuck in real quick. She said, "Hi, Johnny. Hi, everybody." So welcome.
Hey, you guys blast out this link. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Facebook. Put it on Instagram. Call your grandmother and tell her that the Wrestling Council is live. We got to build up this channel because I'd already deleted the Twitter account when Bob decided to continue this thing. We lost so many people. So tell somebody, telegram, telephone, tell a wrestler that we're live.
Yeah. But Jade is way too soon. Like I said, though, I do think that she is going to be a star. She does not need to be on the main roster right now. Mm-hmm. She needs to be on Dark. She needs to be developing. And they've got with Ruby Soho now, and you could tell, man, she is so much better than she was used in WWE.
Oh, that I should have made that my good. Her promo against
Britt. Oh my God,
that was so good.
It's like you're just like every other woman I've ever faced. Arrogant, self-important, and banging a guy in the back.
Oh my gosh, and the reaction from the crowd.
Oh God, yeah,
so good.
Britt's reaction, like the way she sold it, was just like, damn. But man, but like the pill, I don't know, man. I have to say, a lot of people have been coming down on MJF for the promos. I think he's perfect, man. He's the ultimate heel.
Yeah, and Brian Pillman is approving all that. It's not like they're going out there and he has no clue.
Oh yeah,
that's how you get heat, man. Like I said, people watch Dark Side of the Ring. They know the story, so they hear it, and it's like, whoo, can't believe they just said that. It's the same thing as Ruby Soho saying that Britt Baker's banging a guy in the back, man. That gets a reaction. The best storylines are a little bit of truth and a little bit of working, all sprinkled in. That's where your best storylines are at.
Yeah. But my good this week, the news of AEW signing a deal with Mary Hart, creating the Owen Hart Cup Tournament. Dude, like I said, with all the stuff that was going on this week, it was just like it was so much darkness and down, man. When I saw this, I thought that's amazing, man. So for anybody who doesn't who hasn't been keeping up on it, AEW and the Owen Hart Foundation, which is run by Owen's widow, Mary Hart, basically agreed to create, came to a deal to create a new tournament named after him called the Owen Hart Cup Tournament, which will be in AEW. It's also where the winner is going to receive a cup known as the Owen, as well as production and distribution of unique and original Owen Hart merchandise. Basically, finally getting the celebration of Owen Hart and his legacy that we've always wanted, but we knew was never going to happen within WWE just because of the bad blood between her and the powers that be within WWE. And this was like more proof of what we always knew. And the fact was that Mary Hart never hated wrestling. She never hated the wrestling fans. She just saw the WWE for what it was. With all the stuff that was going on after with Owen's death and what happened in between and after and during the investigation, and the way that they for years painted her as this bitter money grubbing widow who was just trying to rake them over the coals. And to see there was a lot of people that the WWE faithful who just backlashed against her for this. Is like, if you're going after her over this news, then you're not a real wrestling fan. You don't know what was really going on. So this was nothing but positivity in my eyes.
I think you worded it good there, because so many people thought that family hated wrestling.
Yeah.
It's not wrestling that they have an issue with. And this is just Tony Khan once again having his finger on the pulse. It's a smart move. It's a smart move for AEW. It's a good move for the Hart family. Keep Owen's name out there and relevant. It's great. Yeah, it's great. It's good move.
Oh yeah, and you saw like all the wrestlers and the talent who knew Owen, and those people who grew up watching him and just idolized him, like the guys in FTR. They all came out and said, this is awesome. It's been too long coming. And if WWE really wanted to show that they've changed in their stance and their position, they should promote it. They should allow their talent to tweet about it. And they should go and say, congratulations to the family. Because I know that she's actually made a statement saying that she has forgiven Owen and Vince and WWE, Vince particularly. She says, I've moved past it. I forgive him for it. But she still recognizes who they are and what they are. So,
yeah, and Vince isn't going to do that. He's not going to acknowledge it. And look at Bryan Danielson. I think it was today. Sends out the thank you letter thanking the WWE. And it's like, Vince would never let somebody do that on his roster. Thank AEW. Tony Khan just gets it, man. He gets it.
Yeah.
And like the little media things they do, like when they have big moments and pay-per-views, and he lets guys just speak openly, man. They can talk about WWE. They can talk about whatever they want. And Bryan Danielson was very thankful and grateful and positive towards the WWE. And Tony Khan's not going to stop that. Flip side, Vince is never going to let that happen.
Yeah. And that just shows you the difference between the two companies and the thought process between them. One wants to be one wants to be a media conglomerate. They want the brand to be the star. It's all about money and the bottom line. They don't want to acknowledge anybody else. And then the other just wants to be a good wrestling company.
Oh.
But that was a really good positive thing that happened this week. The bad, Tommy Dreamer's statement during the Dark Side of the Ring. Honestly, like this thing hit me in two ways, because I know Tommy Dreamer didn't mean any harm, and it's hard. We know it's television, so we don't know what part of the conversation he was answering, because we've seen shows where like that show when your boy Zach went on that show with that guy. Jim Jeffries
was on the Comedy Central or whatever.
The
Is that what
Central
it was on?
Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on there, and they made it look like he was saying all this vile stuff. And what it was is they were basically filming a whole bunch of things and his response to other things, and then just edited it together to make it look like one.
The magic of TV.
Right. And then like they claimed that they didn't do it, but then the next guy that they interviewed saw that, actually put a hidden camera in the room and recorded it. And the Jim Jeffrey guy sitting over here trying to get him to say a bunch of racial stuff, bunch of racist stuff, and he's saying racist stuff to get him, like, to try to make him comfortable to say it. And it's just like, what the hell, man? It's like, so this is like, so on one hand, what he said wasn't good. Okay, wasn't a good take. Just wasn't good. Period. But we don't know the context of where that conversation was.
What's hilarious is I'm lost. This was on the plane ride from hell.
Yeah, because it was.
I don't remember what he said.
What he said when he defended Ric Flair.
That it was just Rick.
He was saying that it was just Rick being Rick. It was just usual stuff. He was drunk, and that he didn't like that. She was overreacting.
But you know what's funny? Like, that didn't even register to me. And I don't, I'm not like you. I'm not following all the different themes and everything going on with wrestling now. But it's like, that was Rick being Rick.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, what's her name? Dustin Rhodes' ex.
Oh God. Baby Doll?
No.
Terry Runnels.
Yes, Terry Runnels. It's like her. When she talked about Brock taking his towel off and shaking it at her. And, she talked about some other things, and that she just don't sell it. Don't sell it. It is the boys being the boys. Now, whether the boys are in the right or in the wrong, that's the way it is. That's the way it was. And the wrestling business truly is changing now. Like, some of the guys that I know that are still in the wrestling business that I talk to, it does seem to be changing. It's less drugs and steroids and, ribs, and more video games and supplements. Like, it is changing, but there's still some of that old school mentality, and it is the boys being the boys. Like, he's right. Like, that's not saying that Ric Flair is it's okay for Ric Flair to do that.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. That's who Ric Flair was. That's what Ric Flair does.
Yeah. And it's the lifestyle that people, act, to be completely honest, back in the day, they idolized him for it. Being a ladies' man, and just being a party animal. And the other thing I will say too is that Rick has been very honest about the shit that he did in the past, and that acknowledging that he's like, it wasn't good, but it's who I was.
It's coming back to me now, because that's when Tommy Dreamer said, it's Nature Boy's gonna Nature Boy. I mean, He's got a hammer, so he's gonna show it to you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So was it a good take in 2021? No, but it was an acknowledgement of the fact that back in the day, that's what they did.
Yeah.
And we've always talked about, whenever one of these things comes out and everyone's like acts like they're so shocked, it's like you think this is bad? I guarantee you, way worse has happened. Yeah. Way worse. Like the locker room mentality and culture of wrestling back in the 70s and the 80s was a nightmare.
See, I broke in the late 90s for my little cup of coffee, and it was like a transitional period. It's like this transitional period, because the guy that trained me was trained by people in that era, right? In that era that you're talking about. And so he was still kind of that mindset. So when we trained, we got our ass beat. We were in New Jersey wrestling for Manny Fernandez. He tells me to lay down on the mat. He puts a hold on me. He puts the sugar hold on me. Blood vessels bust in my eye. And that's just the way it was. He showed you what this hold can do. He put it on you, put you in the pain, and then showed you and taught you how to do the move. And it's wrestling's different now. Like, so people that see that and they're freaked out, none of that surprised me. None of it.
Yeah.
And Courtney there talking about how Dreamer can lose his job. And it goes back to cancel culture, man. That's cancel culture 101. Let's go back to something that happened. When was this? In the 90s, late 90s?
This happened in 2002.
Come on.
It was almost 20 years ago. And the other thing too that was kind of glossed over in the show, actually, I'll hang on to that, but that was my bad. And my ugly was the Dark Side of the Ring fallout on Ric Flair. Like as bad as it was on Tommy Dreamer, it's way worse on Flair. But since we got to that, let's go ahead and transition right into that. The way that it was presented was that nothing happened, that nothing came out of this, that the lady who accused him of it was railroaded. That's not actually that's true. This actually went to court in 2004. So she got her day in court. And again, this is not to justify what he did. And he himself has admitted that what he did back in the day was wrong, but he already paid for this.
Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? It goes back to cancel culture.
Yeah,
it's we were kind of talking before we went live. It's like, okay, you chose to settle out of court, and I get it. The Dark Side of the Ring guys, they're trying to tell a story that it is what it is, and that's that. Like I love the show. I enjoy the show.
So I.
And I know most of the stories that they've told. There have been a couple that I didn't know that were really interesting, and even some of this from the Plane Ride from Hell. Some of it I didn't really know about, but I get it. So they're trying to tell their story. So going and getting her makes sense, but the way she was sitting there with her lip quivering and acting like all these years later, there's all this trauma, and maybe there is. Like I don't want to judge her for the way she feels, but at the same time, you made the decision to settle in court. You got your payday. Let's move on. Maldacito, first day in the ring, dropped on his head. I never got dropped on my head, but I did get blood vessels busted in my eyeballs.
Yeah. And it's just like when Undertaker was was talking on Broken Skull Sessions, or it was on Jericho's podcast about the difference in the culture of back in the day. You know, it's back in the day, like I said, a lot of stuff happened that would be like, what the hell are you guys thinking? What are you talking about?
And imagine if they had cell phones with cameras on them back then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other level.
Yeah. That's what I said. Like this was just a bunch of guys being drunk and stupid. Like we know that we've heard stories of things so much worse than this, but not to make light of it, because it's still not right. It's still not good. That's why that's why it's called the Plane Ride from Hell.
Them talking about dropping the gimmick in Michael Hayes beer. What do you think they used those for? They didn't use them to cut. They didn't use them to cut off ponytails, Bob. No. They didn't use them for ponytails.
Yeah. So the implication is even worse. You know what I mean? It's like basically it's date rape drugs.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's terrifying stuff. But the issue that, like I said, so I'm kind of torn on the whole thing, because I love Ric Flair. I love who he was in the ring. I love.
Can we say goodbye to the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Yeah. Sorry, let me get rid of that. I'm just
running the show, Bob.
I'm stuck in the discussion.
It's good. It's good stuff.
But so like I said, I'm torn on this because it's not good behavior. It's not something that anybody should ever do. But it happened, and it happened half my lifetime ago.
That's the point. Like, we can acknowledge it and say it's we can acknowledge it and say it's bad behavior, and we can move on. Like, we don't have to, going back to cancel culture, nobody has to get canceled. Nobody has to get fired. Brian Caraway in the chat talking about there makes you wonder if WWE knew that there was going to be backlash, and that's why they let him go. That's a good point. You know, a lot of people assume it's the relationship with Andrade and the rumors of Charlotte and AEW. It is a good point. And maybe that is why WWE let him go, because they knew this was coming. They knew this episode was coming out.
Yeah.
It's always Beanie Day.
It's always Beanie Day. And as a matter of fact,
I can change. I got my all caps comics right here.
No. Keep it.
Oh, we're going to match.
There you go.
Yours looks so dark, but I think it's the lighting. I could put this one on.
We're matching. That's like, dude, I still haven't got one of those.
Oh, it's good. I like it. I almost put it on, but I just shaved my head yesterday, and it's like it sticks to my head. So
I've got.
Was there anything on that episode, the Plane Ride from Hell, that you didn't know?
No, did you know? I pretty much knew pretty much everything that happened. I obviously, we didn't know some of the details of it. Like, I knew that Hayes got his ponytail cut off. I didn't know how he got his ponytail cut off. The fact that they used a date rape drug was like, really? Holy shit.
I didn't know how long they sat on the runway waiting to take off. That's what escalated it and made it such a bad thing, because you've got unlimited booze, all this alcohol at your fingertips, and then you're sitting there for so many hours waiting to take off. That's what caused it to escalate.
That's what, yeah. I mean, it was the perfect storm of a bad situation. And like I said, I don't like we were talking about, don't want to make light of that lady. Like, she may still be traumatized from this years ago.
Yeah.
But the thing that people aren't talking about is that because a lot of them just didn't do the research and just don't know. This did, like, they're like, talking about how he got away with this. He didn't really get away with this. Like, we knew about it. Like, even back before we had Twitter and Facebook and social media, we knew about it. We knew that he had a lot of deals and stuff going. Then he got taken off of shows. Like I said, it affected it. This shit affected his life, and it did go to court. And the thing is, we don't know. And the assumption is that the WWE machine basically rose up and crushed her. But we don't know that. We don't know what happened in that court. We don't know we don't know what the settlement was. We don't know what she got paid. We don't know any of this stuff. So basically what's happening is a lot of people are reacting off of speculation. And
it wouldn't surprise me if that is what happened. If Vince just money talks, man.
No. Yeah.
Money talks, like, because what's the alternative? Either you get money or Ric Flair goes to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Neither outcome is going to make this woman feel better. So what makes her money? She wants money.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, I don't know. That seems to be the big focal point. What about the big brawl between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Hennig? Do you think that they called it a play fight? Do you think it was a little bit more than that? I want to know what that was all about.
See, there's a lot of details coming out of this that are getting kind of glossed over because of the Flair stuff. Like, I mean, there's so much crazy stuff that happened on that. Like that fight, honestly, I think it was a real legit fight. I think they would just went. I think they were throwing dogs, man.
I wonder if it started as because you're talking about two guys that want to prove their worth, their wrestling skill, their wrestling pedigree, whatever. I wonder if it started as you can't take me down. So no fists, no anger. It's you can't take me down, and that's where the play fight came from, and then that escalates. If you've ever, when egos get involved, that escalates. Or maybe it was just a full blown fist fight. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you would think with all the other stuff that came out, if it was a full blown fist fight, they would have just said that.
Here's the thing: the fact that it took 3 people to separate them, and that Hennig was released not long after.
Do you think he started it?
I think it's hard to say, man, because.
Or you think Brock's the superstar?
I think Brock's the superstar, and they protected him.
The same way who was it? Who was it on there? Who was it when they were talking about? Oh, it was Jim Ross talking about who he had to fire, and they were like, "Well, what about Flair?" And he's like, "You got to pass because he's a legend."
Because he's Ric Flair, yeah.
Same thing with Brock Lesnar.
And then again, then another thing, the situation with Bradshaw. That's just another example of Bradshaw getting involved in things and causing problems, man. Like the stuff with him and the Blue Meanie. Dude,
did you see that him and Blue Meanie were on a podcast together recently?
Yeah, they basically made up.
That's crazy.
I'm like that's like 2020, man. It's like these two, because the thing was those two dudes legitimately hated each other.
Well, and there's Bradshaw being a bully on the ECW show. Like, what a jerk. Bradshaw's a jerk. You talk about the way asshole. Things were. He's a guy that's stuck in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, he's just an asshole.
Yeah, and then God, there were so many people involved in this thing, man.
The Dustin Rhodes stuff I had never heard. The singing and all that stuff, I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, it was. Well, this was not long after they had broken up, that they had divorced.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: a lot of people don't remember really about Dustin. Dustin was in a dark place for a long time.
Bad addiction.
Real bad addiction. And again, stories that nobody knows, that people who have been following wrestling, legit following wrestling, we know these stories. We know the things that came out of this. I didn't, like I said, like I knew that Sean Waltman cut off Hayes's ponytail. I didn't know the details behind it, and the fact that it was him, like I can't remember. Did they say which one of them had the drug? Was it they didn't really?
I don't know that they said that.
But knowing Waltman and the stuff that, like, again, another guy who's had a really dark past.
Yeah,
really dark past. You gotta think that he's the one that had the drug.
Oh, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
I mean, Bradshaw, like I can't. I mean, as much of a dick as Bradshaw is, I don't really see him having a date rape drug.
No, he seems like more of a bully, just like an in-your-face bully.
Just a strong arm, like, yeah,
make you feel like less of a man type of bully.
Yeah.
Whereas X-Pac, I could see that. Talking about Dustin Rhodes and his dark past, he's got a book. I don't even remember. It's been out forever.
Yeah.
For probably 10 years or longer, called Crossroads, Gold Dust Out of the Darkness. You want to talk about his story? Whew, that's a good book. Highly recommend.
They could do a whole episode just on him.
Oh, easily. Go read that book, man. I've got the book. I'm tempted to see if it's on Audible and see if I can get the audio book, because that's how good it was. Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, regardless of which person's story you believe, what happened on the plane was not good. I don't think there's anybody in the world that would defend it. I think it's hard for me to go after Tommy for what he said, because, like we said, shows like to take things out of context. I do think that what he was trying to do, and he just wasn't able to put it into words very well. He was trying to just basically say, look, this was 20 years ago. Ric Flair today is not the same person he was then. And it's just the way it was, like, and that's just the way things were back then. Not defending and saying it was okay, but I'm saying dredging it up now and demanding that somebody, be punished 20 years later isn't right. I think that's what he was trying to say. He just put it really badly.
Yep.
And like I said, Ric Flair, one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, but back in the day, he was a freaking nut.
They don't call it nation for nothing.
Yeah, it's and the thing is too is that when that kind of lifestyle is fed and you are celebrated for it, you're just gonna keep going down that road. And
you gotta up the ante.
Yeah.
When you have that reputation and you go out with the boys, they're expecting you to be dialed up to 11. You got to dial it up to 12, because that's what they're expecting.
Yeah, and like I said, this had consequences for him, because it ruined his relationship with Tully. It ruined his relationship with Arn. Like, they don't talk to each other anymore.
Yeah.
It ruined his relationship with Arn. It damn near killed him, because it's like the partying and the drinking is what caused him to have his what was it? It wasn't a heart attack. It was a pulmonary issue.
I think he was in a coma, wasn't he?
They had to put him into a coma to do the surgery and stuff that they did on him.
Maldacito's comment right there, spot on.
Yeah, you want justice or money, make your choice. Yeah, and here's the thing: we don't know. Like I said, we do not know what happened in that courtroom. We don't know if. It's very possible that the WWE machine rose up and just smashed her. Okay, I can see that. But she had lawyers, and this was a huge case, and those lawyers were 100% ready to go all the way. So we don't know who's calling me.
Maybe it's Ric Flair telling you to stop talking.
I'm on stream. I'll talk to you later.
It's Hollywood trying to call into the show. Come on, Hollywood. No. This is my show. You've been fired.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, it's double jeopardy. You don't have to like the man. I know that, but it's 20 years ago. It went to court. What more can you really do?
Dude, talking about his past, this just hit me because I was thinking it when your phone rang. His 30 for 30.
Yeah.
that tells you his lifestyle. When he's telling the guy that he's saying, look, I stayed out till 4, 5, 6 in the morning, drinking the entire night, slept an hour, and then went to the gym first thing in the morning. Like, that's the lifestyle he lived. But I love the Triple H story too. Like, Vince is the same way. Not the partying every night, but Vince is the same way. Like, he told the story of him and Vince flying back from a show on the jet, and it's like it was Jericho, and they land at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and Vince is like, "You want to go to the gym?" Jericho's like, "No, I'm going to go sleep."
Yeah.
And he said Vince went straight to the gym, took a selfie from the gym, flex, and sends it to Jericho at like 6 in the morning. They're wired different, man. They're wired different.
And it's and like I said, like that we knew about, like me and Boogie and people have been following wrestling forever. We knew about this, and a lot of the people that are reacting today are people who are reacting in a way that like this happened today. It wasn't good when it happened then, but it was addressed in the way that it was addressed then. It went to court. You can't try someone for the same crime twice. But let's talk about this freaking. Oh yeah, dude.
We got the Brian Danielson shirts on the way.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, let's talk about this card coming up, dude. Two-day event, Grand Slam, AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage Grand Slam. And this is the card. Listen to this card, man. This is a pay-per-view card. MJF versus Brian Pillman, which the setup for that has been fantastic. FTR versus Sting and Darby Allin. Obviously, Sting's going to be protected in this. I'm glad FTR are finally getting a little bit more airtime after being basically MJF's backup band.
But it's one of those deals where the Bucks are taking off, right? The Bucks are taking off and running with the titles.
Yep.
And they do all this stuff. Of course, they drop the belts, whatever. It's good. It's sometimes good to go away from TV for a little bit and kind of not do anything and then start building back up. That's the story of wrestling, right? You cycle up, you either win the titles or you lose a title match, and then you cycle back around, you get to the bottom, and then you build your way back up. It's good booking, and it's good booking to kind of let them do whatever. And now they are getting back in the mix, which makes me wonder, are they going to be in the title picture coming up soon?
They have to, man. Like I said, like we know that the way that they're cycling the world titles, the fact that they're keeping these belts on people for these long stretches, like we talked about how you want to give your belts legitimacy. You want to make them mean something. That's how you make them mean. You have these long, good, strong runs before you hand it off to the next person. And we knew that the next, because of the people who were originally part of AEW, we knew that the next group of people, the group that was going to hold the tag titles was either going to be the Lucha Brothers or it was going to be Santana and Ortiz. We knew it was going to be those guys. And I guarantee you, the next tag champs after Lucha Brothers have a good long run, I'm predicting that they're going to hold the belts for at least 6 months. I think they'll hold them all the way until at least Double or Nothing, and then they'll drop them to Proud and Powerful.
And you're building some people up to take them on too. And that's another thing for me that could have been the good is Dan Lambert. Like Dan Lambert is cutting
promos, man.
He's cutting better promos than anybody. So take two guys in Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page that are kind of like, they're both great wrestlers, but nothing's really happening with them. You put them together, it's not doing anything. Enter Dan Lambert and American Top Team. Those guys are on a rocket ship to the moon. Because, oh my goodness, build them up and feed them to the Lucha Bros. Like that, Dan Lambert was meant for wrestling. His promos have been so good, so good.
I know, like right now, I don't know what it would take to get him to do it, but right now I know that the Rampage announcing team, they're going, instead of having 4 people, they're going to be cycling people through. They got to put that guy on that. Can you imagine him? Because it's a 1-hour show. I think it'd be perfect for someone like him, where it's not going to get annoying. Just have him come on and be an announcer for like in the rotate. Put him in the rotation.
He just gets it, man. He has it. He's got that it factor.
Yeah, and the fact that we're getting this crossplay over from MMA into AEW like this, cross promotion is great, man. Like we said, a rising tide lifts all ships, man. That's why you've got all this stuff happening between them and New Japan, them and Impact.
And I'm never mad when Paige Van Zandt is standing in the ring, ever. Never going to be mad at that.
Nope. I think Heyman will be back in time for. Yeah, I think Heyman's coming back very shortly. Obviously, he took some time away to be just like Mox did, to be with his wife when she gave birth and to be with the kid. And we know that they're building that up to that match between him and Kenny, and Kenny's going to drop the belt to him.
To
Hangman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that at the comic shop this week, how, when Hangman, when he lost that tag match, like when I first heard it, I was kind of pissed because he lost, but then the way he lost was fine. And then he goes away, takes a little break. And again, kind of, you're talking about FTR, same deal, bring back Hangman, then start building him back up. He is the only person that should take that belt from Kenny Omega. Yes. The only person. And by letting him lose that tag match, even though the way it went down was perfect, it just buys you more time, because you need to let Omega have a good little run. You weren't ready to take the belt off of him, so time to let things simmer. And the fans are smart, man. AEW fans get it. It'll be so hot, and they will put together the most ridiculous promo package ever when that comes around. Dude, look at my AEW figures. I said I was going to buy. I said I was just going to buy the founders, the guys that put it all together. So I got the Bucks, I got Cody Rhodes, and I got Kenny Omega. And then I was like, well, maybe, Dustin Rhodes played a big factor. He kind of helped bring this thing together. And I was like, well, if I get that, then I've got to get Hangman. Then if I get Hangman, well, Jungle Boy played it. And now I've got them all.
There you go. But Courtney, he took some time off to help his wife settle in for her pregnancy. I know that his kid's not due until December, but I think that I do think that he's going to be coming back here within the next month or so. Because he's not going to be gone for 6 months. And then when she goes into labor, he'll probably take a couple of weeks off and be with her, just like Moxley did, and he'll be back.
What do you think? Courtney mentioned the Dark Order. What do you think they're doing with the Dark Order?
I think they're going to split the Dark Order in two. I think you're going to have a faction that follows Anna Jay, and I think you're going to have a faction that follows someone else. I think it's very possible that may be what Bray's thing is going to be.
So you think Bray maybe comes in and he leads the dark side of the Dark Order? Yeah. The baby faces they're going to have to do. Maldacito, you're never getting it. You're never getting it. Never. You've not been in one stream, Maldacito. Not one stream. I don't care if you like Tennessee football or not. You've never come to say hello to me. You've never come to visit me. You do like my tweets when I back Comicscape Project, so I'll give you that. I don't know what they're going to do with the Dark Order.
It's for one thing, the Dark. I think that the faction is big enough, and I think that you've got enough baby faces in it that you could you could have half of them go back to being the Dark Order, and then you could have Anna Jay leading a good faction versus the bad guys.
They just can't be called the Dark Order. Order light, Dark Order dark. Like you got
no.
The problem is you had so many guys that got over because of BTE, and that made them baby faces. And then shout out to your shirt. When Brody Lee passed away, it made everybody baby faces almost. Yeah.
But I think with what they're doing with I think definitely Silver and what's his name?
Alex Reynolds.
Reynolds and Silver. I think they're both going to break off and be part of the. They'll be part of the
baby faces, and then the girls are baby faces.
Yeah.
Colt has to go baby face.
Yeah.
It's basically Evil Uno and Stu Grayson.
Yeah. Evil and Stu, I think, are going to be the two guys that pull away.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, they can go back to being a tag team. But getting back to that card, Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. It'll be a different match from the first one. Obviously, it'll be much more competitive. But that's an amazing match right there.
I'm excited for the match. I hated the Rosario Dawson stuff. So lame.
they're tying it into all those
Sure.
stories.
It's WWE. It's WWE. That's why I
Yeah.
didn't like it. That's something WWE would do.
Yeah. But Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, that's going to be all right. Who's coming out of this, man? Who's coming?
I think Britt Baker.
I think she's still so popular, man. I don't think you take the belt off her. How do you protect Ruby in this match, though? I think you just let her have a freaking crazy banger of a match, and then just
maybe have a great match, and Britt cheats to win, and then you build up to a rematch at a pay-per-view, and then maybe she drops the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Britt is so good. Britt is such a good heel. She is so good. She's everything you want in a heel wrestler. The only thing is like, it's one of those deals like I think it was Maldestito maybe in the chat earlier talked about MJF being a legitimate heel that people hate. People like Britt Baker. It's like Kevin Owens. He's a great heel, but people like him because he's cool. Same thing with Britt Baker. She's hot. She's cool. She can wrestle.
Yeah, and like we've talked about it multiple times on here. I don't think there's a better improved wrestler from the time that she debuted through all last year. She's probably the best. She's probably the best. She's probably the most improved wrestler of the entire year. But,
yeah, so I don't know what I would keep the belt on Britt, and I would cheat to win, and then build Ruby back up for a rematch, maybe at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Is you let them have a banger of a match that because they can have it. You have somebody interfere that creates the demand for a rematch, and then if you're gonna have her drop it, you have her drop it at the next pay-per-view.
What is the next pay-per-view? Full Gear? I can never remember the pay-per-views.
I think it's November. Yeah,
which is Full Gear, I think. Yeah.
Full Gear 2021 is November 6th.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. That means Britt will have had like a 6 or 7 month reign.
And Ruby's over. Ruby is
She's
over,
so
man.
Over, dude.
She's over. She can wrestle. She can you talk about freedom and what creative freedom gives you. It's like we talked about it earlier, her promo with Britt Baker on Rampage. I think it was Rampage. Just how good it was. You didn't see that from Ruby in WWE.
How the hell you have someone that good on your roster and
don't give her that freedom
out to people who don't have a tenth of her ability?
Nope.
Makes no sense. It just shows you what that WWE they're programming for an audience of one. They don't know what they have.
And look at them all when they show up. Ruby Soho looked just like Mox when he showed up. Like the weight of the world had been lifted off their shoulders, and she could be who she is.
That was the thing that every single person on the wrestling fandom on every social media platform I saw was, look how freaking happy they are.
Yep.
Every single, like Cole and Punk and her and
Punk. Even my wife, look, she's pretty smart to the wrestling business because of when I was in the wrestling business. But even her, when she watches it, she'll be sitting in the room. She's like, I've never seen, because I'm the biggest CM Punk fan on the face of the earth. Like, I love the guy. It's Punk, Kevin Steen, Hulk Hogan. Like, I've rattled off my people all the time. The Rock, those are my guys. And she's like, I've never seen him so happy. You can see it on his face.
Just the way he carries himself, dude.
Yep.
You can just see he's like they said, his love of wrestling has been rekindled because he found a company that actually gives a shit.
Like that first promo he cut was so spot on. It was a shoot.
Yep.
Yeah. How about that? Did you see this?
Because that's
this.
Yep.
Go ahead.
We know that because when they did the backstage segment, he said, he asked Tony, what do you want me to say? And he said, just take the mic and said, just say whatever comes to you. Say what's in your heart. And so that's what he did. And Brian Danielson did the same thing.
Yep.
Ruby Soho did the same. Like if you have, like anybody that's watching, if you haven't seen those backstage segments,
the best
after the show, and they're sitting down with them and they're talking, they're just letting everything out of themselves. Ruby Soho was literally almost in tears. That's how she's like, I can't tell. She's like, she literally said, I have never felt something like that before. I've never experienced something like that before from this crowd. you know, and CM Punk, when he went out there, he said, like, in 2021, I came back to wrestling. You know,
Yep.
you could tell that, like, and it's unfortunate that it took so long, because I do think that he's going to have he's only going to be there for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, they when they talked about if he had been training to get ready, he's like, no, look, I have a bump card. I have a limited number of bumps that I can take. And he's past his prime, but his match with Darby was fantastic.
The psychology in it was so good.
Yeah, great match. Absolutely great. And if Chris Jericho can still go, Punk's got some matches left in him.
Oh, yeah.
He's got some matches left in him. I like that comment from Courtney there. Did you see that Sarah Rowe surprised Ruby Soho and was in the back when she got there?
Yeah.
First person she saw when she walked in the building. Yeah, Sarah Rowe was the first person.
The camo night thing, that was awesome. Yeah. Dude, you know, as infection, and that's the thing. With them debuting like this and seeing this, it's infecting everybody. It's infecting all the talent that's out there going, God damn. Look,
it's like Punk. It's like Punk. Look, it took me 2 years because I had to fill it out. I had to see what this company was all about. I have friends that work there. Obviously, he was waiting on the pandemic to end, fans to return, all that stuff. And it's like, Kevin Steen. When's Kevin Steen going to show up in AEW?
January.
He's a WWE guy. He's always been a WWE guy. Like, as long as I followed him, that was his goal. He's been there. He's done that. He's won titles. He's made money. Now he can go be with his friends. And there's nothing better than making money and creating with your friends. Like, you talking about the media scrums. That's what Adam Cole said. He's like, we get to go back to doing what we love to do. And that's sitting in a room, throwing ideas at each other. You may tell me that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, but if you tweak this, put this here, do this, and then we can change that. And then you create magic. These are creative people. Kevin Steen, like when Jim Cornette was in Ring of Honor and they sent Kevin Steen home, like that was some of the greatest storytelling. The stuff he did with Jimmy Jacobs, the stuff he did with El Generico. Kevin Steen is a creative person that doesn't need to be in this WWE bubble locked in where he can't create. Let him free. And there's no better place for him to do that than AEW. Like you said, his contract comes up in January.
Yeah. And
that's where he needs to be.
I think his, now that I think, but I think his is in December, and I think Sammy's is in January, or it might be the other way around. They're both within a month of each other, and it's only like about 4 months away.
Do the same thing they did in NXT. Debut Kevin Steen as a babyface, bring out Sami Zayn, El Generico, and let Kevin Steen turn heel and let them work together. You know, WWE, like the NXT, they got it. They got that. But then, you know, I did tune in for the first NXT after Vince took over, but I didn't stick around.
Oh, to watch Rick Steiner's son, who looks exactly like him, who dresses exactly like him, who wrestles exactly like him, and they're not allowed to they're not allowed to say that he's Rick Steiner's son. And it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Vince takes over, and 30 minutes after he takes over, Samoa Joe no longer has the belt. It's like, what is going on? Like, piss on WWE. It's awful.
And then obviously the match between Kenny and Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson's winning that match. They're not going to have him come in. And like we said, every time one of these new guys comes in, they're not going to have him come in and lose their first match. Plus, it's a non-title match, so he can lose this, which creates the drama, so that we get a legit title match later on down the road.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a big schmoz where the Elite comes out, because it's on TV. It's a pay-per-view type event, but it's free. That's the perfect time to do a big schmoz. Come out, everybody. The Elite just beat him down.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to win this match, and then he's going to have another match, maybe at Full Gear. We don't know. Maybe Hangman is going to wait until a little bit longer, but I think we'll get a legit title match between him and Bryan Danielson, and that's when the schmoz will happen. So he'll hang on to the belt, because he's got to drop it to Hangman.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
Not a Cito. I missed you. I think he meant you.
That's the sweetest thing he's ever said to me.
Yeah. But then I'll tell you, man, the fact we're getting Rampage is going to 2 hours. I think this is the test to see if it can if it can maintain. Rampage is going to go to 2 hours, but we get Adam Cole and Bucks, the Super Click versus Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage. That'll be a fun match. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. This is going to be a match where we're going to see, I think where he really is, because I do think that the match with Darby was designed to it was a psychological match. Obviously, he slowed it down, which took away a lot of Darby's offense. But this is going to be the match I think that we're really going to see where he is with this.
I'm not really excited about that match.
I'm not either, but I do think that this is going to, because this is the kind of match where he's going to have the guy to carry it.
Yeah,
because
Hobbs has a bunch of potential, ton of potential,
yeah.
But he needs to be on dark.
He needs to be seasoned.
He's not ready for TV.
Jericho and Hager versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. That'll be a fun match. I'm not expecting a whole lot from that match either.
Promos have been better than the match.
Yeah. Moxley and Kingston versus Suzuki and Archer, though. That's the match I'm looking forward to right there, man. That's going to be, like I said, man, if you want to see what a real match between Moxley and Suzuki looks like, go look at their match that happened 2 years ago. It's awesome.
Good Lord, they beat the hell out of each other on Dynamite.
Yeah, unfortunately, they screwed up the time, and they didn't give them the time that they wanted to. They're gonna have like a 20-minute match here, and it's gonna be fantastic because Suzuki doesn't have bad matches.
I can't believe how much I love Mox and Kingston as a team. Eddie Kingston is a guy going all the way back to the old school Wrestling Council days that we all crapped on when AEW signed him, and he's been great in AEW. Obviously, he's got the mic skills, but he's having good matches too. Good storytelling. You don't have to be able to have a 5-star match to go out there and tell a story.
Dude, that last match he had with Miro was fantastic.
Great way to start the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
great way to start.
Awesome. Hardy Family Office versus Lucha Bros and Santana Ortiz. This is why I think Santana Ortiz are going to be the next guys. Because they're kind of teasing it with them teaming up with the Lucha Brothers like this. And they're the last of the original teams that signed with AEW, so they got to be the next in line. And I think they have to have their run before you start doing double up runs. Yeah. Matacita said, "I'm a sweet guy, but got to keep that kayfabe, brother."
I gotcha. That's gotcha.
And then Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. We're gonna see where Anna Jay is. I don't think that was so. I think the main event is going to be Mox and Kingston versus Suzuki and Archer.
I'm ready for Sheeta to be back on in the mix.
Dude, somebody talked about that. It was like, dude, how does she go from being your longest reigning world champion who carried you through the pandemic and suddenly she's doing dark matches?
And I get the cycling thing that I was talking about earlier, but she has good matches. She's one of your best female wrestlers. Put her on TV in some way, some shape, somehow. She's great.
And Thunder Rosa is kind of been on the low end as well.
Yeah.
So you got right there. You got two of your best right there. I mean, I obviously they're kind of pushing people through Britt right now, and then you got Ruby Soho thrown in the mix as well. So, but right there between Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, Thunder Rosa, Sheeta, and that's another one that hasn't been like inconvenient. Serena Deeb. Where the hell's she been?
I'll throw Statlander in the mix too for the women's division of who should be on TV, which she has been on TV.
Yeah, and you've got like a couple on the come up, like Ty Conti. I think Statlander's just one step away from being right there with those other four that we mentioned. They've got a really strong nucleus.
Ty Conti's going to be good. She's just not ready.
Really good.
She's just not there. Yeah. She's going to be good. But if, like you said, you move Rampage to 2 hours, you're going to be able to showcase more women on that program. Yeah. So
and I think with NWA ramping back up, Deep, that's the thing. But there hasn't been like an official announcement about that. Not saying, but Courtney, take care. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it, and be safe. Go and pick up your meds. Deep hurt her knee. We don't know because they haven't really come right out and like officially said anything. But I do think that with NWA ramping back up and them, like I said, that all women pay-per-view that they had, they had a lot of crossover in that pay-per-view. So there's a lot of people to pull from for AEW's women's division to help develop them.
Wow.
You know, these up and coming talents. But they've got a really, really strong nucleus right now. All they need is to put in the time and the work. Like I said, we talked about this before. We know AEW is going to do it right. So, like 2 or 3 years from now, if they keep going the way that they're going, their women's division is going to be right where NXT's women's division was a couple of years ago.
Yep. Just keep signing the right people. That's the key.
Yeah,
that's the key.
But anyway, we're at the 1 hour mark, guys. Yeah, like I said, man, Dynamite and Rampage this week are going to be amazing. It's basically a free pay-per-view. And I will say this: I did watch bits and pieces of Raw and SmackDown. I do like some of the matches. I mean, like I said, it's still WWE. They still got a long way to go to figure out, you know, what the hell they want to be and what they want to do going forward. The main events for both shows were actually really good. So I'm hoping against all hope that somehow they turn this thing around. But until then, we've got AEW, we've got New Japan. The G1's going on right now. It's been awesome. It's been absolutely fantastic. The main event matches for the G1 have been, like I said, like I say every year, like half the 5-star matches come out of the G1. The G1's the greatest wrestling tournament in wrestling. So, but appreciate you guys being here today, guys. Boogie, thank you so much for helping me out with Hollywood Base of the AOL. Dude, we got to do this again, man. I miss this.
Yeah, good times. I'll jump back on with you guys. We'll do it again.
Yep. But everyone that was here, Maldacito, Courtney, we run back through here. Everybody else was at Hicksville didn't stop in this way. Johnny Cage and Brian Caraway. Brian, you've been gone forever, man. And all the other people that stopped over from Talking Balls, we appreciate it. You guys have a good night. Take care. We will see you guys next week.